Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Lisum, and I'm coming to you today with my amazing guest co host, Christine McCarron. And we're evolving women. I'm evolving. You're evolving. We're all evolving. So let's help each other to evolve. So, our intention here today is to fill the world with uplifting messages, new perspectives, maybe some new tools and resources, maybe some wellness ideas you've never heard of before, maybe some mindset shifts, and whatever else happens to come up. And we're here to give you permission to be your best self and live your best life. So, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 2 with my fabulous guest co host, Christine McCarron. And we're going to dive right in to the whole idea of wealth. And even that word can be a little bit off-putting for some people. It could have negative emotions surrounding it, positive emotions around it. And there's this whole mindset with creating wealth. And we're talking about women who are stepping into a new chapter, women who are transitioning from one phase of life to another, whether it's an age thing, a change in life circumstances. Your kids have gone on and you are now no longer having to be with them 24/7. So you're maybe experiencing some loss there. Maybe you've actually lost a spouse. Maybe you've retired. So there's all different reasons for transitioning or stepping into that new chapter. But I know when I retired, yes, our income changed dramatically because of that. And that is and can be uncomfortable. And yes, I would love to, change my comfort level and change my income and how I feel around it. But tell me, Christine, about why do we have these weird, awkward emotions around money in general and the word wealth, especially?
I think, if you just look at, for example, the media, on the one hand, we all are told, oh, get more money and financial independence, and this is what you should be going after. And then our role models for wealthy people are people like, Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life and Scrooge and all these really evil,
Yes.
bad, selfish, horrible people. Like, do I really want to be like that? I don't think that we maybe consciously make that connection, but subconsciously for sure. Rich people and beautiful, loving people don't necessarily fall into the same part of our brain, right? So we're victims of the media, victims of our own parents, right?
Yep. Yep, for
That
sure. You're
person.
right. There's conflicting mixed messages going on out there. And so, of course, that is happening within us because, yes, we want more income. We want to feel comfortable. We want a wealthy lifestyle where we have more options, more freedoms, but yet, do we? Because, like I said, is that going to change us? Is that going to make us become this evil, bad
Right.
person that, treats people poorly? And because of those mixed messages, I think so we have a lot of confusion in our own minds around that.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope, right? If I make another $100,000 a year, am I going to be visited by the ghost of Christmas past? You know what I mean? It's like, where's that line? When am I too rich and too, to be a nice person? It's, the two are not mutually exclusive.
That's funny. So just saying the word wealth it feels really good to me, but it took me a while to get there. Like it was a process. It wasn't an instantaneous thing that I could say the word wealth and wealthy, and I want to feel wealthy and I want to live a wealthier lifestyle. I mean, it was a process for me.
Well, and even for, talking with friends and family, if you ever said to someone, yes, I'm wealthy, they'd think, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, would that be like, oh, great, good for you? No, a lot of people would say, oh my God, she's so conceited. She thinks she's,
Yes.
all that in a bag of chips, come on. So it, feeling comfort with the concept of yourself being more financially comfortable
Mm.
is okay. But actually running around telling people you're wealthy, I mean, I would be willing to argue that you wouldn't be very popular.
Do not advise that.
I don't at all. No.
But like you said, just talking about it can be very difficult, very uncomfortable,
Yeah. Yeah.
even in a close relationship.
It's true. It's true. Even with partners and good friends, you don't necessarily sit and talk about what's your income, right? I used
Mhm.
to, this conversation just reminded me of back when I was a very young person and going to nightclubs and stuff like that. This person I used to be friends with, she'd say to people, "What's your gross annual?" In a mating situation, right? I mean, I thought, oh,
Wow.
what could be a bigger turnoff,
Whoa.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and I don't even know if it's the numbers as such. Like, I don't need to know people's numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's connected to numbers. To me, it's just like a
And that's
feeling
where
of
I think,
abundance.
well, and that's exactly where you have to go, I think, in order to
Mhm.
get comfortable with this feeling. Because I don't need to have a bank vault with millions of dollars in there that I
Mhm.
can't touch, right? I need to have the freedom to be able to go on vacation when I feel like going on vacation, to
Yes.
buy
Yeah.
something I want to buy. It's not really to me about the wealth. It's about the
Mhm.
freedom that goes
Yes.
along with, a constantly renewing stream of income that's just,
Yes.
I can empty this account and it'll be full again by the end of the month, right? That's kind of the feeling you want to get to, not like, oh, look, check out my bank balance.
Yeah,
Do you see
exactly.
these numbers? Look at all those commas. I mean, that's not where the fun is to me.
Right. And then, like you said, it's a big turnoff. You won't win many friends that way.
Right.
And probably a lot of them will drop off.
Right.
But if
The
you're
ones that are left.
showering them with gifts from that, you know, continual stream of income, yeah, that might be a different story. Um, but it's just such a tricky situation for all of us because of the mixed feelings, because of the way we've been brought up, the way, society imposes things on us. So we need to be clear in our own head. What do we want from that
Right.
extra stream of income in this new chapter of life? Do we need
Exactly.
it? What do we want to do with it? How are we going to get it? And that's where you come in, is how we can make that happen. But sometimes I think I was never taught to have another stream of income. You did your job, you worked, that was your income, and that was it. Like there was no thinking in my family that you could have a couple of different ones coming in.
Well,
And
and not
some of
only
them
that,
are passive. Like, what is that?
exactly. It's the correlation that if you want to get more money, you work more, right?
Yes,
If
exactly.
and then when you want to
Mhm.
retire, you're like, well, okay, I'm not working, so I don't have any money. Well, that's not really
Exactly.
ideal, right? You and you don't necessarily want to be a ward of the state. You know what I mean? You
Right,
want to have
right.
some way, and for me, it's either going to be something that you're enjoying so much doing that it doesn't feel like work, something that you absolutely
Exactly.
love, and or something that's happening behind the scenes that you don't need to focus on and think about on a daily basis.
Hmm. Yeah. But again, it's how I was brought up. We did not have that concept
Right.
of something working in the background, generating an income that we didn't have to do anything about. I mean, it's still somewhat new to me, say in the last 10 years, but I came to that late in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. I mean, I always knew that I wanted to have lots of money and I always knew that I didn't want to work very much, but I didn't I didn't really think I didn't understand how I could make that happen.
Yeah. Is it
It was
even
just like a
possible
pipe
for
dream.
me? That's
Right.
always been my thought. is that possible for me? I see it's possible for other people, but is it possible for me? That's another almost an obstacle to have to work through.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. I mean, when I work with people, we're identifying the first thing I like to do is to get people, if they can, right away with some kind of easy passive income stream. And sometimes that's taking an asset that they already have, like their home, and maybe renting a bedroom, fixing up a basement, making a shed or a garage or something into a living space so that they can start getting, like something like an Airbnb sort of thing, or a full-time tenant, somebody who's just going to pay them a little bit of extra money on a monthly basis, because that way it just, first of all, it shows you how easy it is to suddenly have more money. And also it loosens things up a little bit so that every penny isn't right. It's not like, well, how could I possibly start this new business when I can't afford to pay somebody to do a website for me, and I can't afford to do XYZ, right? So that's a lot of times how we're able to get started, to look around, what do you already have, and what can we identify that will get you started? And then we start to dig deep into what you love and what kinds of things bring you joy, and things that you, like we were talking about in the last episode, things that you might be really great at that you sort of take for granted, and not understanding that the fact that you're incredibly organized could mean that you could help other people organize their homes, right? Like, what do you mean? Isn't everybody like this? Or maybe everybody's like not like that, but you don't think that they want to be like that. So right, just having a good feeling of the superpower, the special gift and talent that person is bringing to the world.
It sounds like it's just a change in perspective.
It absolutely is.
You're opening yourself up to some new way of looking at, like you said, your strengths, your skill set, your available assets that you just never thought about before.
Right.
So it sounds like you shine some light on that for people, for women.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. I was speaking to someone, and she's in a miserable relationship, very, very unhappy, basically came home from work, locked herself in a room, just really was not happy in her situation, in her relationship. And so we were talking about her assets, what she could do. She was underemployed, and just talking with her, I mean, she had an accent. So I said, are you bilingual? And she said, oh yeah, I can speak a couple of languages. And I said, right, just a couple, yeah. I said, well, have you ever considered doing something along those lines? And, the more we talked about it, she said, oh yeah, well, there was a time when I was thinking of doing this thing where, because I was working in the healthcare industry, and I had this idea that maybe I could just teach people the certain words that healthcare professionals would need to know in order to interact with people who speak other languages. I'm like, that's a great idea.
I know.
Right? Like, oh my God. So we talked, then that's like, really? Oh, I just kind of gave up on that. And the more we talked about it, the more we brainstormed about it, and it's turned into a business, and that's what she's doing now. I said, you can take on other people that speak other languages, and other professions, right? It starts here, and then it grows and grows and grows. And like, in my mind, it's already a multi-million-dollar
Oh my
industry.
God, that's awesome.
But you need to flesh it out. And it was just like an offhand comment, but those are the sort of things that can happen.
Yeah, but she needed an outside person to point that out to her.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm like, multiple languages, like, man.
Yeah, I mean, and you might think, oh, that's bad because I can't speak, perfect English. But actually, forget that part, right? I mean, you have talent that a lot of people don't have. So is there a way that we can do something with that, right? And it's a simple a lot of people are probably bilingual, right? I mean, certainly there are a lot of people who weren't born here and they could speak other languages, but I don't know, you take it for granted. Or like I said, you even think of it as a bad thing. Like, oh, I'm not perfect. My language isn't perfect.
Yeah.
So that's something that's negative against me.
Exactly.
Maybe it's not. Let's think of it a different way, right? Put that on its head and see where we end up.
Wow. And when you mentioned the word underemployed, I mean, that's not it could be a transitional thing. It could be you had to step into underemployment because of whatever circumstances. But yeah, even though a person might be working, they're not bringing in as much as they would like. And so, yeah, that whole underemployed is a big thing that, again, you could help them assess and
Yeah.
find out what they already have available to them and be able to create that secondary income to offset that underemployment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned, the Airbnb. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want people in my house or whatever. I could hear some relatives saying that. So I know that's one of your avenues that you might suggest to people. Do you have any other ones that you could share with us that people may not have thought of before, such as the bilingual thing and the Airbnb? Do you have any other ones that would be somewhat common or easy for people to explore?
I do a lot with an organization called Better Investing. And
Better
they have,
investing?
yeah, and that's all about stock investing.
Oh, yes.
And same thing, a lot of people think, oh, you have to know everything or pay it all. But basically, this organization is all about education.
Mhm.
It's betterinvesting.org, and you can go on there. There's all kinds of videos and webinars and all sorts of information about understanding when is a good time to buy a certain stock. First of all, is the company any good? And if it is good, what's the right price range to buy that stock in and stuff like that. So to me, I mean, my experience with stock investing used to be that if I bought the company stock, you could be pretty sure the company was going to go out of business.
Oh,
Yeah, even like Lucid Technologies. I mean, that was a huge company. I bought their stock and it was like they were just woo, right down the toilet. I thought, wow, this power. If I could partner with someone who'd bet against me, short every time I bought something, we could make $1 million. So yeah. But then I was introduced to better investing and I learned that there's a right time to buy a company, that there are, ways to look at the metrics and stuff. And it might, it sounds probably silly, but I don't think the layperson is really all that familiar with what they should be looking at. And
yeah.
somebody might tell you a company's great. And in fact, the company might be great, but it might not be the greatest time to purchase their stock right this minute. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that you can do even within your own portfolio, right? If you already have an IRA or whatever. And there are ways to invest with other people. If you've got a lot of people think, oh, my IRA is just stuck here, right? That money is just doing whatever it's doing. But you can buy real estate. You can buy into real estate syndications and things like that with an IRA. I mean, there are a lot of different things you can do. Even, for example, getting rid of if you have lots of stuff, just start selling it on eBay. Just start selling it on Marketplace and on Etsy and wherever else, right? There are just lots of ways but that's where it comes down to just sitting with somebody and figuring out what their assets are. But yeah, I mean, a lot of us have crap we can get rid of.
We certainly do.
And even
And
if you just get, you sell something and get $50, it's like, yeah, that's $50 I didn't have yesterday. And
yes,
I'm going to now
yes.
take that and put it into my stock portfolio and
Oh,
figure out
yeah, I
the best
love
way
that
to work
idea.
with that, right?
Yeah, and yeah, getting rid of stuff that is so cathartic in and of itself, just
There
freeing up
is.
space. And yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But I just wanted, when you mentioned better investing, it sounded familiar, but then I realized, oh yeah, am part of an investment club of
Yeah.
women, which is another way of getting started. If you
Yeah.
don't know a lot about investing, maybe explore the idea and the possibility of getting together with some other people who already have an established club or who want to learn more and create one of your own. And it's a whole educational thing. And yeah,
Yeah.
better investing is part of that. We're part of that as well.
Yeah, it's a fantastic organization. I was
And it's,
just a couple weeks ago in Chicago at their annual convention, and
oh yeah.
it's so fun. Just there are people in that club, a lot of people in that organization who've become millionaires because of what they learned. And so they're just so anxious and excited and happy to give back to people and to teach them what they learned because they're retired now, they don't have a lot to do. And so they really want to help other people to take the path, that they took. So it's a fabulous organization.
And there you go. There's an example of wealthy people being good people and giving back and just wanting to share and wanting everybody to tap into that wealth concept and the whole that wealth freedom and that whole wealthy lifestyle. And I found that myself. People are so giving and they want other people to succeed and to, yeah, it's just give, give, give. We want everybody to do the most beautiful things for themselves. And yeah, it's a very, people I interact with are very giving and want to share and help other people along the way. So that's how I see the world, through those types of eyes, as everybody is just so awesome. And we just want everybody to be better and to evolve into their best version of themselves.
Well, and that also speaks to what you were saying earlier about mindset, because when you get beyond that scarcity mindset, that right, this only way that I'm going to have a lot is if someone else doesn't have enough. Once you sort of let that go, first of all, it's easier for you to attract wealth because you don't feel like you're taking it out of someone else's hands.
Yeah, yeah.
And also you get to that point where you want to share your knowledge. You want to share how, well, this is how I succeeded. You can too, right? It's not like if I teach you something that now I don't know it anymore, right? You just
That's
bringing people along with you. It's like you can't, if I'm healthy and you're not, if I get sicker, is that going to make you healthier? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
And
no.
yeah, I remember when I first heard that, like that was a big eye opener for me, that me being poor, let's just say, is that going to help other people? No.
No.
Me having a lot of money and being wealthy, oh yeah, then I can start to help friends, family, community, the world in a much bigger way. So if you look at it that way, heck yeah, everybody will benefit the more money I make and the more money you make and the more money we all make. And the world would just continue to become a better place.
Absolutely right.
Love that. But again, it is a mindset shift.
Yeah.
That we have to consciously work on.
Right.
It's not for me personally, it's not a one-time deal. Okay, I'm done. Now I can think
right. No,
in a more positive direction. No, it's a constant renewing, and yeah. So those viewers and listeners just know it's just not a one-time thing. It needs to be a practice of shifting our mind and understanding that we can give more the more that we personally are bringing in, I guess.
Right. True.
Filling our cups so we can give more to other people. So any other thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners and our viewers today, Christine?
I guess just to embrace the change, embrace the earthquake or the right, whatever's going on in your life right now that feels really scary, because guaranteed what's on the other side is going to be something new and exciting and amazing that you just did not even envision before.
I totally believe that, as it's played out for me, and I'm sure it's played out for you.
Yeah.
And just know that it will be uncomfortable, but you'll get through it. I just recently, I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but I recently was at a butterfly house with butterflies flying everywhere. And I guess I knew this, but it just made it more poignant when I was there. How caterpillars and moths, they get into their cocoon and they totally turn into goo. Like they're just mushy, liquidy goo. And they have to like rearrange things so that they can break open and be this beautiful butterfly. But they had to get through this uncomfortable, chaotic, probably scary point first. And maybe they did have to trust that they were going to emerge as a beautiful butterfly. I don't know what their little minds were thinking, but that's me projecting into them. But yeah, that's basically what we would be doing or we're going through. in
Right.
big ways and little ways.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So give ourselves grace as we go through that gooey part, that gooey.
Embrace the goo. That's it.
Embrace the goo. I love that. That's a new one. I can see that on a t-shirt. Embrace the goo. I love that. So yes, embrace the change, embrace the goo. Know you're going to get through it. Feel free to reach out to Christine if you want help with exploring some more ways of assessing and tapping into what you already have going and what's available to you. And maybe she can help you come up with some new avenues and new perspectives that you never realized before. So feel free to reach out to her. Her contact information will be in the description. And I know she is sharing a PDF with us. There'll be a link to that as well. And what's that PDF on, Christine?
It's my book. It's the book
Okay.
Empower Your Inner Millionaire. And that's
Ooh, I
all about
love that.
financial freedom through real estate investing for women.
Ooh, for women.
For
Women
women.
need
Men
lots
can
of
read it.
extra
Nothing bad
help.
happens to them, but it's written for women.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, we definitely want to get our hands on that and maybe, check out her book, and then that might, you might want to take that next step of connecting with her and working with her. So thank you so much, Christine. This has really given us some different things to think about so that we don't feel like we're at a dead end or we have these limitations, but there is something beyond that. And you've given us hope and a positive outlook on that, stepping into that new chapter. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope that.
Yeah, this has been delightful. So
Thank you.
remember, check out the first episode if you haven't seen it already. And again, thank you, Christine. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we look forward to seeing you again in another episode. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.